Welcome to episode 12 of Translated's adventure around the world in the Ocean Globe Race. My name is Paul Cayard, I'm your host, and we're following the team down in the Southern Ocean, leg 2. They're trading back and forth with Pendwick 6 for first place. They've done about 4,000 miles, so they're a little over halfway there, and I think they're getting the true Southern Ocean experience. So let's take a look at the tracker first and see how they got to where they are. And then we'll look at the router and see the weather they can expect in the week coming up. Have evolved and the strategies that have been carried out by the teams. At this point in time, this 3-pack of Spirit, of Helsinki, Maiden, and Translated were all pretty even, really. The important thing is that Translated was to the north and Maiden was to the south, kind of following in Pendwick's line. And what happened as the days went on here, going on to the 15th and 16th of November, is that Translated took the southern, sailed a more southerly route compared to Maiden and Spirit of Helsinki. And Pendwick is even further to the south. And, you know, the south is always best. There's more wind in the south. There's a shorter distance. This is the great circle route here you can see between the ice waypoints. This is the Kerguelen Islands, which they passed on the 17th of November. And this is the next ice waypoint at about 120 east longitude. So the strategy by Translated to get to the south, more in Pendwick's line, really paid out well for them. You can see that physically, these 3 boats go about the same speed, Helsinki, Maiden, and Translated. It's showing that that's the case. Quite different designs, frankly, but somehow they all go about the same speed. So this gain by Translated is due to their strategy of staying in the south. Pendwick's a little faster because it's bigger. It's 73 feet compared to Translated 65 feet. But on rating, which is the only fair way to race a 73-foot boat against a 65-foot boat, Translated is leading the race. And they're physically in second, but they are winning the race on the handicapping system. They're in first place. And as we progress this forward, we see Pendwick approaching the ice waypoint and going around it a little earlier today, really, on the 23rd of November. And then Translated is coming up to it. And this is the weather system now live that they're currently sailing in. And in the router section coming up, I'll talk about this high pressure system that's here. It's going to pass over the fleet and it's going to affect them, and I'll talk about that in a second. This is the wind for the 24th of November. My starting point is Translated's current position. For some reason, the predict wind router didn't update everybody's positions, but I know that Translated's here and Pendwick is a little bit past the ice waypoint, which is going to be a important fact as this high pressure bubble rolls through. Pendwick is actually already around the ice waypoint, and so they're free to sail wherever they want to. But as we'll see as we advance this here, it gets difficult for Translated in that they'll have to tack. You see here they're actually on starboard tack to get around this ice waypoint. Now, again, these waypoints are there for the safety of all competitors, but if this ice waypoint wasn't here, Translated would have scooted through down here to the south on their way to New Zealand, which is out here to the east. So my suspicion is Translated is going to lose a lot of distance just by the coincidental fact that the ice waypoint is here at the same time as this high pressure bubble is rolling through. Once they get around the ice waypoint, they'll meet these northeasterly winds, and they'll be able to sail back down to the south. But this is an unfortunate situation for Translated. Again, my guess is they'll lose some pretty big distance to Pendwick over the weekend. And once we get past all that, it's back to normal sailing. The nice thing here with these northeasterlies and northerly winds is they're pretty warm, So it looks all good for about a week. Then they're going to have some more weather down here, high pressure system to deal with. So that's my take on the router.
So you can see that the weather's going to be a little tricky here in the next 24 to 36 hours. That high pressure bubble is going to roll over them, and it's going to be a little bit slow going. You know, in the days before the ice waypoints, we would have just all stayed much further south and avoided that. But this is the way the game is played now, and I'm sure Vittorio and the guys will battle through that well, and there's still about 3,000 miles to go to Auckland. So more than ever, we need to believe in the humans.
Here we can see that, in fact, Translated did lose a lot of miles to Pendwick due to this high pressure bubble which rolled over the fleet. And both Translated and Spirit of Helsinki had to tack to get around this ice waypoint, which cost them a lot of miles here. But interestingly, Pendwick has taken their advantage and invested it into the northeast here, up into the Great Australian Bight. And I don't think that's going to pan out very well for them. So I think there's a great opportunity here for Translated, Maiden, and Spirit of Helsinki. The router suggests this course down here over the next week. Starting point is Translated's position at midnight on the 27th, and the finishing position is the North Cape of New Zealand, which they have to go around to get into Auckland. So the suggested routes by 6 different routers is down here, and Pendwick is going to the northeast. So either they're really, really smart, or they're going to lose a lot of miles. So let's advance this a little bit. Here's early, basically midnight the 28th. And you can see here, this is now the 29th. Translated reaching along on port tack with about a 90-degree true wind angle. And Pendwick's going to be up in here going upwind. And still, they're going to be going upwind. They may have to deal with this high pressure ridge. If they're not dealing with high pressure ridge, they're dealing with these easterly winds on the bottom side of this high pressure bubble. I mean, there's nothing pretty about going up north. And meanwhile, Translated and Helsinki and Maiden will be reaching along down here on this low road. This is now Friday, the 1st of December. They're going to deal with that ridge also a little bit, but again, the winds are here. The winds are even from behind. They might have the spinnaker up, and anybody up in this area is going upwind against a lot of wind. So I think things are looking good for Translated in the next 5 days coming up, after they got dealt a tough card at the ice waypoint.